Are we ready?
Turn that shit up. You have now entered Staying on Point, powered by Digital Sucker Punch. Discussing all things business, fitness, and marketing. You're about to go on a deep dive interviewing some of the best in the business when it comes to thought leaders, entrepreneurship, and business. Buckle up, put your seatbelts on, you're in for a ride. Welcome back to another episode of Staying on Point. Today's guest, we've got GT, Gary Turner, aka G-Train. I've known Gary for quite some time now, and he has achieved phenomenal things in this fitness space, in the Instagram influencer space, if you will. He's an accomplished athlete, he's an accomplished businessman, and he's got brains and smarts and brawns and brains, I should say. So no further ado, let me patch on in today's guest. How are you, my man?
Hey, mate. How you doing? Yeah, good. Thank you. Not too bad.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite funny. We're only literally, a few minutes drive up the road from each other.
Yeah.
But we're doing it digital.
Time for that coffee, though. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, we could have done this at your shop, but probably.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's start that off. How is things going at the shop? How did the cafe go throughout this whole coronavirus experience? Did you take a bit of a hit? Did you manage to pivot and continue to provide service to customers? What happened there?
We stayed open with the takeaway only basis. I hate to say it, but we're probably going to be better off. To be fair,
people need their coffee.
The revenue dropped by 50%, but then so did our wages bill.
Yep. And
because we weren't really serving a lot of food, we had no expenses with regards to vegetables and meats and all that kind of stuff. So and add in all the government incentives, job keepers and things like that, and obviously the diminished rent that we had to pay, we did a lot better than most people did. That's for sure. We got lucky with that, so we'll be fine.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy. A lot of businesses did struggle, but I suppose the ones that managed to take advantage of the government incentives, job keepers, managed to scale down to the demands of what was required.
Exactly.
Like yourself, and very much same for us as well. Can come out relatively unscathed on the other end. So,
I hope so. Yeah, I feel sorry for the guys that are going to come off this worse, because in my opinion, it was a bit unnecessary. But that's another story.
Well, hey, we've got the time. So in terms of trade, you've got your cafe down in the heart of Broadbeach on the main strip there, which we'll dive into. What was the name of your cafe again, just for anyone that's listening?
It's called Addiction Food and Coffee. So we're just up from Koi on Surf Parade there.
Yeah, fantastic. And so you guys have got the lion's share then, I suppose, of.
That's right.
Yeah, you're there. People know about it. You've had those touch points. Those kept serving people's addictions throughout this period of time. So
it's caffeine addiction. I just want to make sure that's just all the names about.
Yeah, of course. Well,
we've probably made some nucleon cell from out of this, and like as I said, the majority of the street remained closed. And who could blame them with the ambiguous kind of government rule guidelines about rents and things like that. So a lot of them just felt it was safer not to open. We just felt that we got a massive base of local customers, and we just needed to just keep serving them. And I suppose in doing that, we've kind of bumped up our own clientele because it's like looking after everyone else's as well. So it might work out for the better,
Fantastic. I'm happy to hear that, man. I'm happy to hear that. That's a strike for the little guy. Not you in stature by any stretch of the imagination.
We are the little guy, we're only a small shop, but we do okay. We do all right. Yeah.
Cool. So, mate, let me ask you, how's things going on the fitness side of things? You're staying on top of your training. You've got any comps coming up? What federation are you in these days? What's your plans? I know just from touching bases with you earlier, you're looking at perhaps going into the IFBB physique, classic physique, is it?
Classic physique, yeah.
Classic
I've got
physique division, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
How's that going to work for you? Do you have to put on size? You got to drop size? That's a different.
Look, I mean, obviously through all this Corona stuff, a Like I tried the whole garage workout thing, the prison workout thing in the garage for a
Bands
month.
and 5 kilo dumbbells.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, for people like me, that kind of exercise is actually, it does more harm than good. We need heavy weights. We're used to lifting double our own weight, some press and stuff. So after that, I just said, oh, stuff it. I'm going to have a 2-month break. So I've not touched a thing for 2 months.
Wow.
I've just started back in the gym now, 5 sessions in. I'm really achy, not going to lie. I feel like I've never lifted a weight in my life. So I'm walking like I've got stuff up my backside. But look, I mean, I've traditionally been a muscle model, which they don't have a weight category as such. It's just about proportions. So, I mean, some of the guys, I might compete against might be 10, 15 kilos lighter than me. Some might be even heavier. But with regards to the transition for moving over to IFBB Classic Physique, which is really the only place I've got left to go, because, I mean, that's the top of the ladder for me as far as I'm concerned. That's the end goal. Always was the end goal. I don't have to actually put a lot of weight on, really. I can move across. My shape, I'm just fortunate enough for it to be kind of X-shaped. So I've got that classic shape already. So, I mean, the only issue I've got really with it being in my height, because I'm 6'1" and under. Some of the guys that I'll be competing against would be people that were competing at the super heavyweight bodybuilding class, who have come down, and they're always gonna be tough competition, even for someone who's a pro in another division. I don't take that whole pro status as license to just go, oh, well, I'm good enough to just become a pro in another category, another division. The federation, you got to earn it, and definitely got to earn it in this one. I've done one show here, I've done one show overseas, and I came second in both. So it's I'm not there yet. So
you got the taste though. You got just that enough to go. That's it.
I've got enough friends on Instagram and around the world to know I'm as good as the guys that are pros in other countries. All right.
Who are they? What are some big names in this new division that you're getting into that you have your sights on to try and knock off?
Oh, Jesus. I mean, a lot of the PCA guys, I mean, I was okay, let's start with WBFF. A lot of the WBFF muscle models, they went over, a lot of them have moved across to the IFBB. Neil Curry, for example, over in the UK. Jesus, a couple of other guys. Tavi Castro is trying to get into his IFBB Classic now as well. A lot of the big names. I actually believe, what's his name? Anyway, Tom Coleman as well, another good friend of mine. I think he's going to Classic as well. But as are a few of the other massive names. I can't say too much yet because I don't think they've announced it. But a lot of people are actually moving there now that Classic Physique has become accessible in more countries. As with regards to the Pro League kind of, I guess, expansion. A lot of people are moving across to it. So, yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. Still, I reckon I've probably got to put another 2 kilos on in certain areas and now my condition, but I like a challenge, man.
Yeah, right. I mean, you may not know about this about me. I actually competed in the second Classics division, IFBB, and I won the title for Queensland IFBB.
I saw a photograph of you competing one time. I don't know how long ago. And I thought
that was the second IFBB Classic division in Queensland they had here. So I took out that title as my little claim to fame many years ago. But obviously, physiques have developed since then.
Majorly.
Mate, I wouldn't even cut it on the natural scene.
Man, you look good though. I saw those pics. You had it down for sure.
Thanks, brother. Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's all right. Yeah, man. But yeah, no, you're right. Every year, you look on Instagram and you think, oh, I'm actually catching up to some of these guys. I'm almost there to mix it with them, and then another freak just rocks up and he's just come out of nowhere and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to give up now. Like, you know what I mean? It does make you think that way because you just think you're behind a little bit, 2 steps behind probably with some of these guys. But like I said, I like a challenge, mate. I like to chase stuff that is not unattainable, but
makes it work.
A little bit of ego there. Just think I can do this.
A healthy ego is good.
A little bit, yeah. I think a bit, as long as it's not unchecked. But
So let me ask you, you're saying you see these freaks step out of nowhere, and like, I think, I see that more and more as well. Do you think because of the, rise of popularity of social media, that's become more apparent? Like those freaks have always been there, but we've just never
I
known
think
about
that
them?
I think they've always been there. I mean, some of them. I mean, a couple of Russian guys I've just started following on Instagram just recently. That I mean, one's a open bodybuilder for sure, but you're like, where have they come from? Like they've obviously just been some kind of massive national secret, and they just decided to go on Instagram and
Yeah.
suddenly banged up 50,000 followers, and who could blame them? Because they're just, and they're in every class.
That type of muscle density and maturity,
Yeah.
and that doesn't just happen overnight. That takes
Or
years to
it
build
could,
on.
no, but one of them's 22. So I'm just kind of like, well, I'm just going to give up now, mate, because I'm 40.
So
I'm going to go the other way soon,
So he's just gone through puberty, and he's looking like a 35-year-old male.
Mate, I reckon his parents were feeding him something special, that's for sure, throughout his teenage years, But yeah, but like I said, I mean, there's genetics, and when genetics is got a few years hard training behind it, these people just come out of the woodwork, and that classic physique division is becoming a pro is one thing. That was always my goal in that class, especially since it became about. But then would be just qualifying for the Olympia. That'd be like the end goal. I'll be happy to step on stage, but even at my best at the Olympia, I mean, I'd be last probably, and I'm happy to concede that, but it's just a personal goal. Some of these people are just genetic nutcases, so
Man, as it always says, just even stepping on stage is an accomplishment on its own, particularly even at that level. So
that's right, man.
So what's the game plan? What's the roadmap for the year ahead, or 220 is a bit of a write-off, but maybe
it isn't. I'm looking at it as an actual opportunity. I mean, 2020 can go either way. I mean, the season B is delayed by a month by the looks of things, so November sort of time. And now the gyms have just opened here. It'll either be people going, oh, I'm desperate to train, and I'm just gonna prep my ass off, and I'm gonna go compete, and everyone will just be hungry for it. Yeah. Or it'll be, oh, I'm gonna skip 2020 and I'm gonna go straight into season A in 2021, and it'll be quiet. If it's quiet, and for me that's a massive opportunity, because I'm already prepping for November. So I'm just gonna hope it's the latter. A slightly diminished field, but we'll see, man.
Yeah. Fingers, eyes, and toes crossed for you.
An opportunity for there, you got to jump on it, man. So,
totally.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And so you've been getting back into the gym, out of the home gym.
Yeah, 4 days. Well, I've done 4 sessions. I did legs the day before yesterday, and I can't actually walk at the moment. I'm having issues, man. And I even stopped I stopped the session after 45 minutes, and I was like, I better just stop. I'll ease into it, and I'll cut my losses now. And then I thought I'd be okay, but no, I'm struggling today, man.
Did you jump back in with the heavy compounds, or was it something?
Yeah, kind of. I don't actually squat. I mean, I've got a lower back issue, so one of my vertebrae, my lumbar spine, is sort of offset slightly, so it makes the disc above it slightly herniated. So I never do my heavy compounds in terms of squats, but yeah, like a lot of, in terms of weight, I mean, I was basically lifting the same as what I was before we went into lockdown on leg press and stuff like that. So I couldn't resist it, but it felt good at the time.
There's the ego.
Yeah, man. I'm a glutton for punishment. Yeah, I mean, I've always trained that way. To be honest, I always punish myself. I think it's the only way to be. But I'll be right.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got your training. Obviously, you're jumping back into that with preparation. You've got the cafe, which keeps you busy. I believe you've got, correct me if I'm wrong, it's called Zen Vans. Is it correct?
Yeah, Zen Campers Australia. That PTY is the actual business name.
So is there an actual website for that at this stage?
There is an actual website, zencampers.com. Also zencampusaustralia.com. Yeah, but it's all there.
Such an interesting business venture, I'd say. Like, it's funny because even prior to knowing that you did this is something that I looked on Pinterest and saw plenty of decked out vans, the Wanderlust sort of vans that were decked out with, all the amenities and, that feel for you just to go travel with, tell me what made you go down that path? How did that come to fruition?
Well, I'd be lying if I said I had a passion for campers and camper vans. And I just love, I mean, I am a surfer. I do love to get away to the beach and rough it. And if I go overseas, I'll always try and live in, the roughest accommodation and getting down with nature and all that kind of stuff. I'm not really one for the Hilton, but no, actually, my business partner in the coffee shop, I basically had a conversation with him one day, and he told me about a friend of his that owned a tow camper trailer, and he put it on this third-party website and made sort of $5,000 renting it out over the Christmas period, and just in a month. I mean, he obviously owned the trailer, so it's all money in the bank for him. So it just got me thinking that there might be something in it. So initially, I was going to go and just try and buy a bunch of camper trailers, but it's not really my thing, and they seem a little bit hard work in terms of unfolding them and showing people how to use them and that kind of stuff.
Can you define a camper trailer? I'm not sure what you mean. Is that one of those sort of pop ones that?
Yeah, pop top caravan type thing that basically look like a trailer.
Yep.
So not a caravan, but it's like a folded down caravan. But that's the whole point. Like to me, that seemed like a lot of work because you've got to show people how to use them. You've got to clean them and, what makes sure there's not mold or whatever within all the canvas and things. So I thought I'll try it with a camper van and see how we go. I'm fortunate enough to have a family member who's a very good carpenter, as I mentioned to you before. He wanted a bit of work, and, I picked up an old fleet van, an old government fleet van, and made sure it was obviously mechanically sound and decked it out as good as we could. We spotted a bit of a niche in the market. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of campers in Australia. It's a very buoyant industry, but there's a lot of generic stuff that are kind of plasticky and really not that appealing, especially coming from like a social media background. I know that people want stuff they can put on their Instagram and things like that, and those sort of campers are not really, they're not really along that kind of line. Same with the grubby ones with the graffiti up the side.
Wicked campers, yeah.
Campers, yeah, exactly. Like, I don't even know if they're still going or not, but I know there was an issue with them in the news with some of their slogans. But I don't know. Either way, the whole was there for us to create something that was aesthetically pleasing and Instagram kind of worthy, make it really sort of shabby chic and wooden and all that kind of stuff. And so we created one. And it went off. I mean, I put it on this third-party website, which is like Airbnb, and it just went crazy. And I think within the first few months, it was the most sought-after van on that website, which is the main website in Australia for that.
So how does that work? Do you just post it up there as if you were like a housing listing, and then people come pick the keys off you and they rent it for a week and then drop it back off?
You pay, they're very reasonable. I mean, they don't take 5% of your fee. You set the listing fee. You set whatever you want about it in terms of expenses. You can pay, excuse me, you can pay a monthly insurance fee, which basically means, it's fully comp. So it's all insured through them. They take care of everything. They take care of all the booking. They inform you when the van's been hired. They do everything for you. It's all done. All the conversations are kept, in a back-end system for insurance purposes. Everyone's covered. Everyone's happy. Conversations and communications clear, and they just take their 5%. They let you know when it's been booked, and you then go and communicate with the renter when they want to collect it and when they want to return it, and show them how it works, and off away they go. So
I'm assuming you have like a rating system, the same thing as others.
Each renter basically rents they rate the van out of 5 and then leave a comment, much like a lot of the other online systems. So it went 5-star. Basically, it's all of my vans are 5-star, and they've all good comments. So
you're a pimp for vans, eh?
The love wagons. That's right, man.
The love wagons.
Are
they hired out by the hour or just for the week?
If the money's good, they can have it for any time they want. This is only it's like a 2-man van. It was like a little long wheelbase Mercedes Vito. It wasn't even a big, RV style thing. It's cheap to put together. So Yeah, I mean, the model's good. I mean, in terms of camper vans, the model's good. That it might cost a certain amount of money to create it. They retain their value because people pay for the conversion, not the actual mechanical van. Obviously, that's got to be good too. But the model is to run each van for about 4 years, make obviously whatever revenue you can off it, and then I'll be able to sell it for what I put into it for 100%.
So at what stage do you generally forecast that a van pays for itself back for rental?
A van pay for itself within 1 year.
Yep. Okay, fantastic.
Possibly earlier, actually, if you have a good year. It could be 9 months, definitely. So
that's the whole model, is just renting it out opposed to refurbishing and selling?
Yeah. What I'm trying to do is create 3 to rent, and then the 4th one is a flip to sell. Generates revenue from the sale, go for another 2 or 3 to rent, and then every 2 or 3 I'll try and put one into to actually sell.
Yep.
And you can create a decent amount of revenue from the van conversion if you can find a van that is cheap enough. You got to find a magic deal for a van, find a lucky one, But that being said, even if you get an average price van, you can still make a decent revenue. Maybe 30 or 40% revenue, something like that, on your actual costs. So it's not too bad. It's worth doing.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And in terms of, like, I always think in terms of sort of supply chain, how long does it actually take for you to sort of get a van together? So once you've purchased a van to getting it out to renting, what's that sort of production lead time?
It's pretty quick. Provided my carpenter is actually free, because he's a very in-demand fella.
Okay.
But if I've got a van on my garage, my road outside, and it basically take me a day to get the solar stuff put in, and then it might take the carpenter. Yeah, I put solar in all the vans now, so nice. They've all got a fridge and downlighting and USB sockets to plug your phones in and stuff. And then maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. That's cool.
Yeah, turn it around in 2 weeks. It's not too bad at all. It can hustle. If I can want to make some serious revenue, I can just nail a couple of vans and create a decent amount in 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So
I was going to say, it sounds like a scalable model. It sounds like if there's demand, you could definitely bring on board contractors to help with that, and that does.
It's something I want to scale, and I need to scale like fairly quickly, because the whole business idea and the niche is, if someone comes in with 300, 400, 500,000 to put into something like that, they could copy the model very quickly and
squeeze you out.
Yeah, basically. I mean, it was only ever designed to be a boutique business anyway. It wasn't designed to be a nationwide thing. But I mean, it could possibly go more. It could go down the road. But as I say,
I mean, that is a risk with all business. Do you have sort of a thought of a differentiating factor, a unique selling proposition that would make your van stand out amongst the rest if someone were to come along and try and replicate your business model?
It's hard to say, really. I mean, yes, I could give you a whole bunch of specific reasons with regards to the way that the vans are created. The quality of the craftsmanship and the way that they're put together and all this and that and the other. But most people, they're not actually going to respect or see those reasons. Yeah. They're just going to, oh, well, that's kind of a shabby chic style, and that's it. And they probably could, to be honest. And it is something that concerns me a little bit. But I mean, in terms of the way that our logo is pretty catchy. It's a pretty beautiful logo. I've had that handcrafted, and that's all water painted, watercolors and everything. So that's quite eye catching in itself. But the style, although it can be copied a little bit, I try and make each van different, and I try and make each van unusual in its internal design, even to the lengths of creating parts of the roof that are like church style with curved areas in the roof and things like that, to make it's the vibe of the van. A lot of people won't go to that length to create that,
sure,
because they want to make money, they want to make vans. So I'd like to do somewhere in between.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
kind of, the product is important, making money is important, but the balance between the two, I think, is important, very important.
Yeah, certainly, I'd agree with that. So,
Mm.
very cool, very cool.
Mm.
Let me change it up a little bit. So, I mean, you've got your vans, fantastic.
Yeah.
You've got your cafe, you've got your bodybuilding. Um,
Mhm.
what many may or may not know about you is that you actually are a teacher.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
How did that come about? What brought you into the academic sort of landscape? You were teaching for quite some time as well. What?
Yeah, it's telling my age now, man. But,
I haven't
yeah.
divulged that yet.
Yeah, I'm just gonna hide the bags under my eyes. Yeah,
You
but
got a good camera angle, don't worry.
yeah, look, I mean, when I was growing up, I wanted to be an osteopath, and I actually went to osteopath school for a year. So no one actually knows that as well. Unfortunately, I had one of those fathers who was a little bit overbearing and really forced me down the road a bit before I was ready to. I should probably have taken a year out and done some growing, and he just thought I would never go back. So anyway, cut a long story short, I didn't last at osteopathy school because I was cutting a grade C, which is okay, but it wasn't enough. So I ended up dropping out and taking a year out, and then I went back to school to university, and I did degree in human physiology and psychology. And at the time, and this is in 1999, which is quite embarrassing, but they were actually offering people money to train for a teacher, to be a teacher. So I was like, well, shit, I'm having a great time at university. You're going to pay me $6,000 and I get a degree to become a teacher as well. I was like, done deal. I get to stay in Plymouth for another year. So it's not some romantic story about how I love to teach. That actually did develop, but it came after the actual decision to become a teacher. So I did a PGCE, which is like an extension. It's everything you do in a Bachelor of Education in terms of the practical work, but you do all the practical work in 1 year, and you do all the the theory stuff for the 3 years prior to that. So I've done the 3 years of my degree. I went to do the PGCE straight into a school, and it was one of the most scariest things I've ever done in my life. I remember just pissing with sweat and just shaking.
What year level was that you first had to teach?
High school. I think I went straight into a year 8 class. So they were teenagers, and they were just
rat bags.
Yeah. Well, my kids in year 8 now, I know what they're like. So they smelt the fear, but they were good kids, and they've got like the other teacher at the back, and they're kind of overseeing stuff. But yeah, like I remember, I could stand up now and comfortably talk to 1,000 people, would be okay. But at the time, I was naturally introverted and hated to be the center of attention. And I could just remember absolutely shaking, trying to give a demonstration on science. And I think it was, it was combustion or something like that. I can't even remember. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, I did 13 years, to cut a long story short, as a science teacher. Always wanted to travel, and that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to actually become a teacher, because I could go anywhere with that qualification. Got me to Australia. It got me actually offered a job in the Dominican Republic prior to that, and then after that I went to South Africa for a few years and sort of lived there and taught in South Africa as well. So the scary thing is I could have actually been a principal by now. Could you imagine? Yeah, I know. I mean, you and me as a private level can actually understand how funny that is. But 13 years is enough to become a principal, pretty much. So
is that the cutoff, the criteria, time served?
Well, no. I mean, in terms of a teacher, they do it as pay scale and year level. So after about 8 years of teaching, you're at the top of the pay ladder for a teacher. Yep. You can't go any higher. The only way you can go higher is if you become, head teacher of science, deputy principal, and things like that. And there's only, I'd say, a couple more steps, and I would have been, I basically would be principal. So it's if I wanted to be. I never wanted to be, and I never wanted that responsibility. But yeah, look, I mean, science teacher, it was good, and it's been a good basis for platform for the PT stuff, and all the training stuff which came after that. So yeah.
And at what stage did you stop teaching and sort of take on personal training and the likes of everything else that you do full time?
I've always done it. I've been a PT for like 15 years. Probably actually, I remember working in a gym actually before I even went to university to become a teacher. And I've been PTing since then. But so I guess I've been doing it both at the same time, the whole time. I'm teaching sort of part-time or as a supply teacher right the way through to about a year ago, up on the Gold Coast. So, it's the beauty about teaching is just doing casual days here and there. It's very easy, and it's, I still get to hang out with the kids, which is what I enjoy the most about the job, to be honest. Like I'm a quiet guy, but I do still enjoy hanging out with the with the teenagers and actually, being the sort of person to mentor them and stuff. It's fulfilling. And but somebody like me, who's not the stereotypical science teacher, they definitely identify with you as a person and a personality. So, unfortunately, a lot of the schools didn't like that. And I, as I say, with regards to the social media and the fitness industry and stuff, I've actually been forced to resign once or twice, which has been not much fun.
Not once, but twice.
One was officially that reason. I got marched into the principal's office. One was unofficially, they didn't talk about it, but it was quite obvious that was what the issue was. Yeah.
How could that, what you do in your private life, even though social media is public, and I'd imagine anything that you presented is not, overtly offensive. So
no.
how could that, go to the point of affecting your employment?
It certainly asked that question.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a private system. It was on the Gold Coast. Unfortunately, in the private system,
they've got their own rules.
They've got their own rules, but they're really governed. The school doesn't run the school; the parents run the school.
Yeah,
so
it's like what you see in the movies.
It is what it is. I mean, 99% of parents love me, and the kids, even the naughty kids, were just having great results and were identifying with me as a teacher. And I wasn't your stereotypical, white coat, specs kind of, meek little science teacher. And management tend to they tend to dislike that. The parents and the kids tend to love that, and there's obviously a contradiction there. And I think one set of parents weren't happy with the fact that I had a social media, particularly being a fitness model. They just deemed that as counterintuitive to the job, and they've got to follow up a complaint.
They must have had a bit of pull then, if that's the case, if they managed to get push that.
Well, paying $15,000 a year per child or whatever, then they're going to have some pull, because pay the bills, mate. But it is what it is, I've just kind of, and that kind of, unfortunately, is a decision I had to face somewhere down the line, because do I want to give up my career as a fitness in the fitness industry, or do I want to continue being a teacher where I don't really want to go into senior management? So I just pulled the pin on that, and I've kind of pursued the fitness stuff instead, really, with the sporadic casual day here or there. But
why not?
Why not? Yeah, it's out in the industry.
The substitute teacher. So obviously you said you were quite introverted. You had to get in front of the class. You had to teach. You had to sort of step outside your comfort zone. Then to being a fitness model, stepping on stage, Instagram page with hundreds of thousands of followers, getting worldwide presence, being on a platform where you're, exposed worldwide. How did that come about? How did that come about, I suppose, from a mental shift, but also how did that come about from a mechanical shift, meaning, how did you get that exposure? How did you manage that? What was the process behind it? I see plenty of people that post on their Instagram, post good content on their Instagram, but they don't have hundreds of thousands of followers. What do you feel was the underlying factors to be able to achieve that sort of, quote unquote success on social media? Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a lot hard to continue being successful in social media these days, to be fair. I mean, I'm not going to put it all on me and say I'm what everyone wants to look at, and what everyone wants to hear. But I mean, okay, take it off me. Like the timing was obviously an issue. I jumped on social media. I think I started my first Instagram page. I wasn't one of the first. there was probably about a year or two of people that had a head start of me for a year or two. But I mean, it would have been going back to 2000 and maybe 13, 14. And that was the heyday of blowing your Instagram. I mean, there was myself, there was Zach Smith, and we were training partners at the time. And he was on about 40 or 50,000. And I was like, well, you know, Zach's pretty similar to me. I'm going to do what he's doing, because he's already making loads of money on his, on his online PT stuff. So I didn't copy his model, but I mean, because I have my own thing, and I have got a lot of substance on my own. But at the same time, it was quite obvious to sort of see how we were going. And those days, mate, you throw a share up on a page, you can get 1,000 followers. It's like, you can't do that these days.
No,
it's not. They don't want to let you. That's it. It's just all.
It's all pay to play these days.
It is. Nothing is free these days. Look, I mean, that being said, the comments that I receive and things like that these days are that I'm not an asshole, and I'm quite grounded.
That's good.
Mate, there's so many people out there that I mean, I know a lot of those big names on Instagram, and some of them I love.
Yep.
I think great people. Some of them are shallow fakers, basically, and they're just full of shit. And at least I know that I've got some substance. I've got education. I've got, the whole family background. I've got a child that keeps me grounded, and I've been through enough in life, and to be able to offer some form of, I guess, content that people can take on board, in addition to trying to lead from the front and actually be a role model, on the physique side of things as well. I don't like to, lean on anybody else. So I think with those things, there's probably enough there to warrant some sort of social media growth, I think. But I mean, I'd still advocate a lot of it towards the timing, not going to lie.
Yep.
So,
and what do you see as the fundamental shift from, say, 2-3 years ago, the Instagram world, until now? Obviously you're not seeing the same amount of growth, you're not seeing the same amount of reach, you're not seeing the same amount of strategic alliances between other influencers to help with that growth. Do you think it just comes down to the big platforms saying, "Nah, you want to get that reach, you got to pay"? Do you think that's what it's?
It's awful. I mean, it's not just myself. I know a whole bunch of influencers that have got great followings. They just don't even like Instagram anymore. They just can't stand it because it's no fun.
Yep.
Like, if it should be a level playing field, and if it is, those guys have worked their asses off to get up to the numbers that they're at. Why are they being penalized for having such high numbers? They've done the work.
Yep.
Like, why are they being stopped? And now, we just can't get anywhere. Like 2 years ago, it started to change. A year before that, you could still get, people following from shares, and at least you could, throw a mutual share up between somebody with a similar kind of following, but now you can't even really do that. So, I mean, I still post, as often as I can. I try not to, there's all those rules twice a day and algorithms. I don't really stick to all that kind of stuff anymore. I post once a day if I can. And I do it because I've got a lot of following that like to, or need, some of them need to actually hear what I've got to say. And the amount of DMs I get saying, "Man, I need to hear that today," like I get a lot. But I really do it for them. I don't get much out of it personally now, it's a shame because it was something that I enjoyed, for so long. But like nowadays it's more clinging on to, an asset that I put a lot of work and time into, and I don't want to let it just, go to waste. So I'm at that point, and a lot of people are, they're all going down different paths nowadays.
And how do you feel you could leverage that asset that you've created? Because it's a digital asset. Do you feel there is a form or a way that you can further leverage it to, revive or to get more out of what's there?
There must be a way. In fact, there's got to be a way. But I'm not the person with enough knowledge to know that way. And it's the same with a lot of people in my position. Yep. Yes, they've got a following, and yes, it would be great to monetize that following or, use it for something. But most people don't know how to go down that road to actually make that decision, or they don't have the funds to actually instigate that decision. So they're kind of stuck with a fantastic social media, that not much they can do with it as it is at that point. So, it's kind of frustrating.
It's quite interesting because, like back in the day, particularly working in the e-commerce space and aligning our brand and product with other influencers, we simply just did an outreach program where we say, hey, listen, either, can we give you products for a shout out, or can we pay you for a shout out so that our brand gets recognition? And that worked perfectly fine. What we're seeing more and more, particularly here within the agency, we're seeing dedicated influencer agencies being created where they'll, like an influencer like yourself would align with an agency and basically have your platform in an archive, if you will, where brands can look at and go, yeah, we want to identify or use this and this person, and so that they can either create user-generated content and just use it on the business side, or actually on the influencer side, give them a shout out. So there's sort of like that. There's agencies in between. Furthermore, something, and I believe it's only been released in the US as of now, but it will get rolled out worldwide with Facebook. Facebook are actually doing a direct link for for Facebook pages and Instagram pages, influencers like yourself, where you go into basically like a list or a catalog, so that when advertisers and agencies like ours are running ads for brands, we can actually select your profile out of a list there and run ads directly from your page. And then obviously everyone makes a commission, the advertisers pay. And so they're facilitating that platform to try and further encourage influencers, but also monetize the hard work, what you guys have done.
Well, that's exactly it. You need to. It's more. There's more work there now. Now the way that it's been restructured by the people up high.
Zuckerberg.
It's just Zuckerberg. But there's more. There's more there now. Like there's more skill sets required to actually do that than before. It was just us. It was just the influencers and. We get people saying, oh, you want to put this on or pay? Yeah, cool, no problem. Now it's like, you need people that are skilled enough to know all that kind of stuff to do it. And very few people have the access to the information to be able to, upskill themselves all the time, for that matter. Well, I'm happier to just team up with an agency and, cut everyone in and just, take over. That's what it's all about. And a lot of people will be in the same position.
Yeah. Well, as they say, a month in the digital world is a year in the real world, because things are just evolving so quickly.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I like the idea of it, and I like the idea of upskilling, and it's something that I always try and do with everything in my life. But right now, and as I say, for a lot of people, I don't have the time, to do that. It's really a question of do I put that upskilling in that area ahead of other business things that I need to be doing, and I've got to really prioritize it.
Yeah, definitely.
Easier.
Is the juice worth the squeeze, and what's your bandwidth like? So
yeah, exactly.
So, do you see any other white space at the moment where you feel that you could capitalize on in the social media world, like you did with Instagram years back? Are you a TikTok guy? Are you a YouTube guy? What's
TikTok for extroverts, and I'm not one of those, mate. So,
no dancing and singing in front of the camera for a 15-second clip for you?
Yeah, geez, mate. No, look, I'm your typical, English kind of quiet introvert type of fella, mate. So the TikTok stuff I find very funny to watch. I'm not going to lie, but can I see myself doing it? I'd probably be as uncomfortable as I was on that first day in the teaching classroom, 1999. To be fair. Even though it's just myself doing it, I'd still feel like an idiot. But that being said, I think I like the idea of the YouTube stuff, and that's something that I'm slowly trying to build that. So the YouTube channel is under construction, and I think that's equally as strong a medium as TikTok, and probably stronger than Instagram right now. So I've got people that are way lower than me in terms of following on Instagram, but they've got like 100,000 people on YouTube, and mate, they're paying people salaries based on their YouTube views, and that's not a huge number of followers. So it's yeah, it's something I'm definitely chasing. Probably more because all it really is just a slightly longer version of what I put up on my Instagram anyway. To be honest, it's just a couple of minute YouTube clips. There's nothing to it, you know.
Yeah, and it's a lot of it is what we call edutainment. It's education and entertainment, and
Yeah,
that sort of shit's fun to make.
it is, and it's easy.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it is, and it's the sort of thing that you can build into your day as well, which is important because like being a dad and running businesses and stuff, like I need to be able to do stuff that fits in with what I'm doing. I can't take an hour and a half, 2 hours generally to, apart from your good self, to sit down, do stuff like that. So unless I actually calendarize a full day and just keep everything else at it and try and bang out a whole bunch of content, which I do now and again. Not when I'm in this kind of condition, but maybe a couple of months down the line.
You're looking solid there. I mean, I'm just seeing the jersey. Is that Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights?
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's actually a legend. I love it.
If you're not first, you're last.
Exactly. That's my sentiments exactly, man. I've been last quite a lot. It's a good movie. But,
you're looking thick there. What are you weighing in at the moment?
You know what? Like, I'm actually feeling all right. I'm weighing in at like 104, 105 kg. So it's at like 230 pounds, 235, something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, normally when I don't train, I don't eat. And when I don't eat, obviously we lose weight. And I mean, when I came off training for like a few months, a year ago, 2 years ago, I lost a lot. I went down to like 97, 96 from 100. So I'm actually maintained everything that I was before lockdown, which is weird, but it's a good sign. It means I obviously made some gains during that kind of prep leading up to the last comp. So yeah, it's a good place to be.
Are you a type of guy that tries to stay relatively lean all the way through, or you bulk and cut? Are you a dirty bulker? Are you a clean bulker? What's your KFC and chocolate?
Mate, I could eat shit all year long and I'll never get fat. I'm one of those people everyone loves to hate.
Right.
I mean, I never get I think I'm fat, but I'm like 15% body fat or 14 or something like that. It's not fat.
Yeah.
Like it's the sort of stuff that I could get gone in 3 weeks, My diet's terrible. I'm not gonna lie. It's not good, man. I mean, considering the amount of education I've got and the nutrition side of stuff and all that kind of thing, I know what I should be eating, but I've just, especially with all this COVID nonsense and all that in the last few months, I've just been so angry about what's been going on. I'm just fuck it. I'm just going to eat ice cream. I don't care, But my diet's not great, but I mean, it's obviously held my weight. And I'm not fat. Like I'm probably 12% body fat at the moment.
Why don't you whip your top off for the camera now, buddy?
Look, I've still got abs.
Oh, he does too.
Yeah, they're still there.
Fat shouldn't even be in your vocabulary then, mate.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. It'd be good. It's good. It's a good place to be. Like if I'm 104 now and I'll start training again, I'll try and get up to about 112, and then cruise in for November's competition. So that's the idea. Let's see. I got beat by a mate of mine in the last comp in the New South Wales champs from Sydney that I used to live with actually.
Yep.
But he was a super heavyweight. He'd come down to under 100 kilos. I compete. My cap's 100 kilos. So for this, that was again.
So he came in diced then.
Oh mate! As soon as I saw him, I saw him, and his face was just like sucked in and just dipped. So I was like, he's doing my class. And I was like, but I mean, even the pictures, it's apples and oranges, mate. I mean, I still think I look better, but he was probably 1% leaner. It's what it is. But even so, like a bit of exercise never hurt anyone.
That analogy can be used in so many ways.
Exactly.
So I mean, like, classic division as well. It's an aesthetic looking physique. I'm way out of tune with it all. But from my limited knowledge of where it is these days, coming in with styrated glutes and things like that don't cut it. That's not what they're looking for in that division.
Not really. It does help,
but it does. Yeah, but are you saying is it going that way or?
Yeah, every time, as I said, every time I go on and I see comps on Instagram that have happened in America, and they've gradually chipped up the weight classes slightly in pounds and the allowances and all that. It's good. It's bodybuilding, mate.
Yeah.
Some of those guys, like if I'm 6'1", I mean, the amateur cap is 100 kilos. I think the pro cap is more like 103 kilos. If someone's shredded, like they're walking around at 120 kilos normal.
Yeah.
Like that's bodybuilding,
that's
man.
super heavyweight.
Like it is. Yeah. You just got to be a super heavyweight with a skinny ass waist, a nice taper, and decent quads. I mean, that's bodybuilding. That's just classic bodybuilding, So that's why I like it. It's the natural evolution of my fitness stage career. Sure. Muscle model, I could compete against guys that were like that, but this is another level, man. I don't want to diss any other federations because they've all got their own merit, but this is harder, and I'm happy to admit that. Definitely.
So you've got Australian-based comps coming up this year. Is there any overseas comps that you've got on the map?
I'd like to, because I've got Bro Activewear who've just started sponsoring me, and they want to fly me all over the place to do comps.
Who's that? Sorry, what's the label?
Bro Activewear.
Okay.
So they basically create. Yeah. Shorts and classic physique trunks, and they sponsored Chris Bumstead for quite some time. But mate, we're not going anywhere for a year or two by the looks of things. So so I guess I'm stuck in Oz doing Oz comps. Nothing wrong with that. No. I've got to earn my stripes in the Australian IFBB community because they always sneer at competitors that have come across from other federations. But
we could do a whole podcast on that alone.
But that's all right. I'm happy to wear it on the chin.
Yeah.
And I'll get there. Don't worry about that. But so I'll do my time here, man, until we can go, and then hopefully by then, I don't know, I might be a bit closer to being a pro and trying to up the game, go to America or something. Let's see.
That's where it's at. We've got some good interviews lined up in the near future with some a couple of big name Aussies that are obviously from Australia, but are doing their thing over in the States. So it's always good to pick their brain. See.
100%, man.
So
yeah.
You've mentioned before, talking about bucket list things you can do, and this is something I really resonated with what you said, that you've felt that you've lived your life in reverse. That in the first part of your years, I should say, you've lived a bit of a vagabond gypsy lifestyle. You've experienced a lot of things, but now you feel that you're finally settling and accumulating your assets and wealth and being a little bit more stable and so forth. Why is that? Why do you think that, and why now? And why? Like that's my life. That's how it's been. Like right now, I feel like I'm 38, 39, so only a couple of years difference. I feel that the first part of my life, my partner and I, Jude, we traveled. We lived here, there, and everywhere. No fixed location. We've got a daughter. It's 2 years old. Now we're finally just settled in one spot, and starting to accumulate assets and wealth and do the responsible adult thing, so to say. Why now? Tell us your life,
man. I've always been a massive surfer, so since I was a kid.
Mate, you'd have to be on a mini mouth to hold you.
Mate, I'm still surfing a 6'1", so don't you worry about that. That governed my life literally. But that being said, with all the modeling stuff that I did when I was younger, in my 20s and stuff, man, some of the stuff that I've done, people will never do. It's just, you go to the Arctic and you see the Northern Lights in an actual real, Arctic village full of locals with polar bears walking around, standing on the glaciers, on icebergs and stuff. It's just, it's insane the experiences and the opportunities that I've been given. And, you get opportunities like that, you take them. So the modeling stuff is just a large portion of my life where I was flying all over the place to do these amazing things. I've done, I've got all these qualifications. I've done everything. I've traveled a lot. I think I've done about 60 or 70 countries. really for that kind of nomadic surfy kind of experience as well. And my kid and my daughter, she's 13 now, and I'm now at the point where I had a bit of an epiphany, like probably a year ago, and I've been told to chill out by friends and stuff, but I get almost an anxiety in the fact that it's not like a money addiction I have got, but if I don't have enough to go, oh, I'm going to go on a holiday next month, I feel like I'm in prison. You know what I mean? Like I do. It's not that I want the money. I don't care about money. I care about freedom. And
freedom, that's what it is.
This world that I don't hate the world that we created, but I really don't like the way that you are a slave to money and you can't do anything without it. And I've got nothing, man. Like, I mean, I do have now, but I mean, you asked me this like 2 or 3 years ago, and I would have just been someone who was in between a teaching career and God knows what, throwing a few things up on Instagram. And I've got a daughter who's growing up very quickly, and I've got all these amazing experiences, but I don't have anything. So I don't, most people do it in reverse. They go through the 20s, they save up for, they live at their parents' house and they save up deposit and they buy a house and all this kind of stuff. But it just seems, and I've done it in reverse. And so now I'm really about building an empire, not only for me and my own personal anxiety to just be able to go, I can do what I want when I want to do it, but also so that my daughter's got, stuff there to be left when I'm gone. I mean, I'm only 41, but you got to start thinking that way. And I think when you become a parent, you do sort of start to think that way, that you have responsibility way beyond yourself now, that you need to growing the fuck up and get down to doing, it's not like obeying the world, but you got to just stop playing the game a little bit.
You got to play the game. Exactly. That's what I say. You got to play the game. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. So really my bucket list, I've done virtually everything that most people would have on their bucket list, Yeah. Done some crazy stuff, apart from jumping out of an airplane, which I would never do because I don't like heights. I've done most other stuff. All right. Sure, I want to travel. I like to get away from the world that generally has been created. I like to go to travel to random places and get away from everybody and just hang out and go surf and stuff. But above all, I need to build a mini empire, for my own growth and also for my daughter. That's really what it's about at the moment. Definitely. I'm sure you feel it.
I can relate and respect on so many levels.
Yeah, man.
Hey, listen, if anyone wanted to reach out to you and, ask for your help, ask for advice, what would be the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can DM me via my Insta, which is gtrain_pro. Or you can email me on gtrainpro@hotmail.com. And I'm happy to chat to anyone.
Fantastic. Hey, listen.
No dig.
No what? No. Damn.
I've got to put that one in there, a little disclaimer.
Yeah.
Don't get opened, okay?
I had the eggplant emoji already set.
Yeah. Yours get through.
Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for chipping out an hour of your day to come chat. Really appreciate it. You've got a fantastic story to tell, and that's been an honor. Thank you very much.
Sweet, dude. No problem at all. Well, we'll catch up at the shop next time and go for coffee, okay?
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for listening to Staying on Point. Tune in with us on our next episode as we dive in, interviewing other fantastic guests, finding out exactly what makes them tick and how they've achieved their success.